What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. So, looks like IBF welterweight champion Devon Alexander recently did an interview with Boxing Scene, and one of the fights that they talked about is a potential fight with him and Amir Khan. And basically, Devon Alexander, this is what he had to say. It definitely is a good fight that I would be interested in. They say Khan is one of the best guys out there. In my opinion, he is just an average guy. When it's all said, they are pumping him up, so I'd love to get in the ring with him because I will definitely beat him. He will get with his team, and I will get with my team, and we'll go from there. I've never shied away from any opponent. I get in the ring with whoever they put me in front of. He goes on to say, I don't think he's a threat at all. Well, let me take that back. Like I said with Purdy, anyone who puts on gloves is a threat to me. He's trying to hurt me and take what I have, so it's a threat. That is a threat alone, me versus Khan. But skill for skill, he isn't a threat to me at all. He hasn't fought too many guys with the skills like mine in his career, and I think that would be a factor in this fight. Me personally, I like this fight. Khan has been talking about moving up to 147. I think there's a whole different market. He's been talking about it for a while. After Danny Garcia, he was supposed to beat, because Danny Garcia was like an 8-9 to 1 underdog, something like that. And he was saying himself that if he beat, or after he beat Danny Garcia, he was going to move up to welterweight, and he was upset by Danny Garcia, so I guess for that reason he stayed down at 140. But he's been talking about it for quite some time. He's looking for a Mayweather payday. I'll be mad if, I mean, I wouldn't say mad, but I don't think Khan deserves, other than the fact that he has a fan base. See, what's crazy about the boxing game nowadays is I feel like fighters, it's like a popularity contest to the point where like some fighters don't have to, or some fans even think that their fighters, the fighters that they like, don't have to earn their stripes the old-fashioned way, which is go through the levels. It's like playing Mario Brothers 3. I don't know how old you guys are, but if you guys ever play Mario Brothers 3, they have these whistles, and basically, if you know where to find them, they have these whistles, and you open this treasure's chest and the whistle pops out. What that whistle does, it gives you the opportunity to bypass certain levels and automatically skip to the next set of levels, without actually going through each individual step. And realistically, in the sport of boxing, since it is a business, since nowadays you can make a lot of money in boxing if you have the right marketing team, you have the star power and the drawing power, and people want to see you. I mean, we've seen Cotto's, Mayweather's, Pacquiao's, Canelo's a rising star. Adrian Broner's building his brand up, and it's a business. So realistically, nowadays, promoters, fighters, their team, everybody, they're out to make money, which is cool. But they're using these quote unquote Mario Brothers whistles to automatically bypass the set of rules that everyone else has to go through and earning it the hard way. I don't agree with that. I think Amir Khan has a huge fan base. I've never denied that. But based on his last 3 fights, 4 fights, 5 fights, does he deserve a fight with Mayweather? No, not really, in my opinion. He hasn't looked that great in order to get a Mayweather fight in September, nor has he fought at 147. Truth be told, I still don't even think Canelo. I think Canelo deserves it more than Amir Khan, just because he is a unified champion at 154 and he has a fan base. But based on his resume and his last 5, 6 opponents, I wouldn't say he deserves it. Austin Trout is really the reason why I would make the Mayweather fight, is because he's been calling out Mayweather and he unified by beating Austin Trout. But that's it. You know what I mean? Him beating Josecito Lopez doesn't do anything for me. That doesn't warrant a Mayweather fight to me. So when you look at Amir Khan, if they make the September fight with Mayweather, it's really based on business. They're trying to make money. Anytime you have fighters from different regions, whether it's Argentina, Mexico, the UK, that's a whole different demographic. As we've seen in the UK, they have diehard fans. The Carl Froches, the Ricky Hattons, Amir Khans, Kell Brook is rising. And they got different people. Prince Nassim back in the day. They have love, and they show love and really support their fighters. So again, it's a different market. You get these fighters and they build a name in the States, then you're basically cornering the market in 2 different areas. Like, you're appealing to the UK fans and all the people in London and Bolton and everywhere else, as well as the fighters or excuse me, the fans in the States. So Amir Khan, without a doubt, he definitely has a fan base, but based on his last couple fights, I don't think he deserves a Mayweather fight. I would definitely be open and more more rest assured saying a fight with Devon Alexander makes sense as opposed to Mayweather. But again, it's a business, so they're going to make whatever fights that they want to make. But I would rather see Devon Alexander. I think that's more warranted because, again, Khan says he wants to go up to 147. Devon Alexander has a belt, so fight him. And I think that's a lot more competitive, to be honest, too, just based on both fighters and their strengths and weaknesses. I don't have all the specs, but I think Amir Khan should be taller with a longer reach, and he has speed. I would say he has a speed advantage, but Devon Alexander is also a slick fighter, and he has good speed. So, based on the fight with Devon Alexander and Lee Purdy, I mean, you can't really compare because I definitely put Amir Khan over Lee Purdy in terms of skill as a fighter. But Devon Alexander basically showed that he can do some things. He fought with the hurt hand. He said he hurt it in round one. He continued to fight. A lot of people call Devon Alexander a quitter for the Timothy Bradley fight. With that being said, I don't think Devon Alexander did himself any favors the way the Timothy Bradley fight played out, especially based on all the shit that both fighters were talking before the fight, Devon Alexander and Timothy Bradley. Timothy Bradley definitely showed more heart in that fight, but he didn't really exhibit the quitter mentality. And to me, to be labeled a quitter in the sport of boxing, anyone that laces him up, you really have to it has to be more or less repeated offenses. I haven't really seen enough instances of Devon Alexander quitting in a fight other than Timothy Bradley to the point where I would label him a quitter. That's like someone taking a test and they fail one test, but overall their other grades are solid. You don't call them an F student or say they're, you know what I mean, like they get bad grades based on one failed test. So that's the way I look at it. But Devon Alexander, Amir Khan, I really like this matchup. I think it's a safer matchup than some of the other people they're talking about. Danny Garcia looks like he's improving, getting smarter as a fighter. It shows he has a chin in the Zab Judah fight. Lucas Matisse is looking monstrous. You've seen what he did with Lamont Peterson, the way he handled that fight. I think those are bad fights for Amir Khan, especially since Khan hasn't looked great in a lot of his recent fights. The last fight where he looked good was Carlos Molina, and that's because Molina went up 5 pounds to fight him at 140, and he was a fighter with no power, so Khan didn't respect, in my opinion. Molina didn't really give him enough to respect. He didn't have the punching power to gain Khan's respect. He wasn't necessarily aggressive enough, throwing enough punches, and that's really it. Because if you look at every other fight in Khan's last couple of fights, Lamont Peterson, Danny Garcia, the fight with Julio Diaz, these fights are all a lot more competitive. And I don't know, that's just what it is. Carlos Molina was undefeated, but again, he didn't have much punching power, and he was a smaller fighter, and he was a slower fighter. So that's Amir Khan's the last time he looked good, but for obvious reasons. But Devon Alexander, Amir Khan, I think that's a safer fight. Devon Alexander, again, he's slick. He looked good in the Lee Purdy fight, but he was fighting a lot more toe-to-toe, which was different. I wasn't expecting that. I think a lot of these fighters, they get caught up in the rapture, and they hear the bad criticism they get. Devon Alexander's last fight was against Randall Bailey, and it was a stinker. A lot of people complained. It was supposed to be on a big Barclay event, and it was a fight that was postponed initially. It was supposed to happen before the Barclay event that it was placed on, but there was an injury. Randall Bailey, I think, injured his shoulder. So I was looking forward to it, and then when I seen it, I was like, wow, I waited all that time for this. So I think Devon Alexander kind of came out with a chip on his shoulder, and he had the perfect opponent to do it, Lee Purdy. And he just outclassed him. But I don't expect Devon Alexander to fight in that way, more toe-to-toe throughout long portions and big chunks of the fight against other people. He definitely didn't do that against Randall Bailey, because Randall Bailey has knockout power, especially in his right hand. And he definitely didn't do that against Maidana when they fought, and that was Maidana's first fight at welterweight. I'd actually be anxious to see Devon Alexander and Maidana rematch, since it looks like Maidana's also improving with the tutelage of Robert Garcia. At the time where Devon Alexander fought him, Maidana was, I don't even know who his trainer was, but it wasn't Robert Garcia. So There's a lot of different matchups that can be made at 140, 147, and 154, and I'm anxious to see them. Again, I'm cool with Amir Khan versus Devon Alexander, and if they have a good showing, then I think that puts them in a position to have the Mayweather fight. Like, okay, Amir Khan, if he defeats Devon Alexander convincingly or TKOs him or whatever the situation is, then that makes me more comfortable seeing him fight Floyd Mayweather because at least he has one fight at welterweight, and it was a title fight, and it was against a fighter that has a resume like Devon Alexander. A lot of people hate on Devon Alexander, but he's slick, he's a southpaw, and he has a solid resume. Even though he lost to Timothy Bradley, he was still in the ring, he still shared a ring. Randall Bailey is a seasoned veteran. He fought a hard-hitting Maidana. He has a solid resume to me, especially based on his age. So does Amir Khan. I like the match. What do you guys think? As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.